Yo. Yeah, pulling up right now. At the door. Why is it so blue in here?
Well, guys, you probably are confused as heck. Sorry for the French. We're here about to discuss Twilight because guess what, guys? We actually watched it on our own time. So as you guys know, this whole channel is us talking through an entire movie. And what comes with that is that we miss
the entire movie.
Pretty much. What did you think about Twilight now that you watched it for the first time without any distractions?
So, I hated it. Alright, so I may want to take my words back of saying, like, I hated it. I feel like this entire movie, maybe not the later movies, but this first one specifically, lives or dies on the fact that, do you want to Robert Pattinson?
Well, that's why I liked it. I really want to him.
The first 40 minutes, I was totally into. The last 30 minutes, I was totally into.
I didn't hate it. I really enjoyed the first act of this movie.
Yes.
It's pretty good. Like, quiet girl going into this new town in high school. The dialogue between the high schoolers was also pretty believable.
Probably the most believable thing in this movie.
It wasn't like an out-of-touch high school dialogue type thing, which
Tall
happens...
girl type shit.
Yeah, which happens all the time. Like, the dudes are goofy. They're like, hey, look at the new hot girl. Like, yeah, that's kind of how it is in real life. As being a new hot girl that came to a school, I heard that. So...
Oh, you're Bella?
Why do you think I want to Robert? It's so funny calling him by his first name. Yeah. Just Robert.
Just Bob.
Yeah, the movie tanks hard after the reveal that he's a vampire.
Yes. Well, going back on your entire opening, the high school part, like atmosphere and music.
Music, dude. I feel like the licensed music and the actual score is pretty damn good.
Within those first 40 minutes, like, it's just slay.
So... up until the point of where it's revealed that she's, like, finally catches on that he's a vampire, it has this kind of soap opera, almost acting feel to it, where you're not watching it like that's bad acting necessarily. It's more of like, this is kind of the vibe in terms of like...
Yeah, I get that. The
soap opera dramatized high school life. But that's kind of how you view the world in high school. It's very like...
That's deep, bro.
Everything is very...
Did you write that down? Did you prep that? That was deep as shit.
But then the first legitimately bad acted scene is her being like...
You're impossibly fast and strong.
Yeah, that... once we got to the forest, the glistening skin, it was difficult. Honestly... when I initially watched this movie, I thought Bella was just so stupid. And I absolutely hated her character. But if you look at it from her perspective, like if some IG baddie showed up and said the things that Edward was saying to Bella, are you kidding me? Certain lines of where like, I don't know if I can contain my dominance towards you and all this shit. Like, I'd just be like, it's all good. Yeah, you can suck my blood. It's chilling.
And we would say that before we found out he was the vampire too. I don't know. We are kind of walking a fine line in saying that when Edward gets a whiff of Bella when she walks in the classroom, and he's like, that was kind of bad acting, I will say. But like, I'll let that one slide. Baseball scene.
My vibe of the movie, I was again locked in for those first 40 minutes, and then we have the vampire reveal. They introduced the family, and then they just kept going with the lovey-dovey stuff, and I just was still out of it. And then all of a sudden, the baseball scene happened. The music kicks in, and that one buff dude, he's like, and I was like, whoa, okay, all right, let's go, energy.
Yeah.
Seatbelt was on. I was ready to see some dingers. I think, yeah, from that point forward, I was locked in again. All right, so I may want to take my words back of saying, like, I hated it. I guess I did not hate it.
It was actually more enjoyable than I expected.
Yeah. Something that always interests me with movies is just character introductions. And Bella's is fucking hilarious. They use the visual medium of like she misses her home with the cactus. It opens with a whole deer getting chased, and then we have...
Dude, I literally have a note about that. It's like this poor deer getting chased by a camera guy on the set.
Yeah, that's
in the middle of a forest.
And then we get her on the plane, her in the car with her dad. When she hops out of the car, she's holding the cactus. And what confused me is that How long was she holding that cactus? Because was the cactus in the bag when she was on the plane? Or was she holding the cactus on the plane as well? And if she was, how did she get it through TSA? Because it's a spiky object.
Hijack the plane with the cactus.
That's what I'm saying. I just feel like...
You get one carry-on item.
What'd you think of Jacob's introduction?
I thought his character introduction was fine. I thought he fit in the movie. You could tell that, there was like a little exchange between them that like they've known each other for a while, like from their childhood, and you can tell that he's, thinks that she's attractive.
From our previous reactions, I thought Taylor Lautner was the worst actor in this entire series. From this first movie, he's the best in my opinion.
He's in it for 5 minutes, though.
Yeah, but his line delivery...
My dad gave me $20 to come talk to you.
My dad paid me to come talk to you. $20.
And then we get to the actual movie, which is the introduction to the Colons walking into the cafeteria. I thought it was a good, little, her friends giving her the tea, and then you're seeing them through the window, and they look all mysterious, and then it's like, oh, they stay to themselves.
I wish they made it a little more creepy about how all of the step siblings are dating each other. Because they kind of just gloss over the fact that, they're step siblings, but they're all fucking,
Yeah.
And I feel like if I was in high school, that would be the biggest drama ever. Like, the line of, the Carlisle plays father/matchmaker.
Foster dad / matchmaker.
Do we need to do a child protective check on what the hell's going on in that household?
What's the principal doing?
Yeah, if you adopt 5 children and 4 of them start fucking each other, how the hell did we get here?
I mean, Bella's reaction to Edward's intro, it just never fails to amaze me. So, important question. So, a character we haven't really brought up yet is Bella's dad. Is Bella's dad a beta or alpha?
Sigma.
No, the dad is probably the most, sympathetic character in this movie. He's, the only dude that I would give a hug in this movie.
I disagree.
Who would you hug?
Carlisle.
Yeah, he's pretty hot.
That's not what I meant.
You want to grab his little cheeks?
Which ones?
Just fake an injury so he can operate on you? Broke my dick!
Carlisle, fix my dick with your mouth. Ugh. It's the only way.
Do CPR on my dick.
It's like the whole...
But don't breathe out, breathe in.
The venom sucking thing. Oh no, a snake bit my dick. Someone sucked the venom out. Carlisle, you're a doctor?
No, Bella's dad takes it hard, especially towards the end where she has to disappear.
I think my initial reaction when I watched this movie, the first watch, I was so upset at Bella for what she said to her dad.
Yeah, and if I don't get out now, then I'm just gonna be stuck here like Mom.
And now I get it a little more where
Yeah.
it's
She's infatuated by this guy, bro. If you're crushing hard in high school, you would run away from your home.
Is that something that you did? Was that...
I would have for the girl I liked if she liked me back, but she didn't. Well, she actually did, but she told me 2 years later. I know they bring up later in the movie that Edward kind of talks weird because he's 100 years old.
I think Bella talks weirder.
I don't know, bro.
No!
Edward talks weird
okay.
as shit when they first meet. He's like an 8-year-old kid that doesn't know what accent he wants to inherit from his parents.
Ladies first. I was out of town for a couple of days.
Yeah, I did notice the accent.
I could see the appeal to him a lot more if he had a better voice. But Edward in this movie just sounds like a beta the whole movie. He's just like, hey.
This is the skin of a killer, Bill.
As if you could outrun me!
As if you could fight me off.
Okay, first of all, let's address this. Is this a problematic age gap?
I was also thinking that...
Bro's 104.
Yeah, and Bella's, 16, 17?
Well, how old did Edward look? Oh, wait, so...
He was 17 when he got bit. But the issue isn't the physical, it's more the mental. Is it, as a vampire, does your brain still age?
Technically, he is stuck in high school for the rest of his life. He has to go to high school the rest of his life. Because they hop around different schools.
So is that why Edward's so stupid that his brain hasn't fully developed yet?
He's been stuck at 17, even though he's 100. He keeps going to high schools. It is questionable. I don't think we need a whole cancel Edward campaign.
But I would want to see him in a room with Chris Hansen. You mind taking a seat for me?
Fast forward a bit, we get the car crash scene, or the almost car crash scene, where Bella almost gets sandwiched.
Yeah, crushed like a bug.
That scene's pretty sick, though.
And I feel bad for the driver because he did get cut off. Like, he was just casually driving.
Yeah.
Someone went and backed into him, and he tried to swerve so that way he wouldn't hit him. Next thing you know, he's skirting on ice.
The car crash scene, that really sold me. I was like, dude, I'd be horny as shit, too. Like, I can't even blame Bella. Because, like, I'm on Bella's side at this point, because, like, you are right. He did play off that, like, yeah, and then disappear, come back, I love you. It saved her from dying. I buy that. Even as a grown man.
How much you buying it for? How much money you putting down? How much cash on the table?
I'd go beyond money for Edward.
What does that mean?
Oh, it's so funny after the hospital. So, like, when she gets taken to the hospital and she's like, no, I'm fine. Edward's in the hallway with her dad. And then she's like, I saw you from across the parking lot and you somehow came and saved me. He's like, no, I was right next to you.
I was standing right next to you.
Right next to you.
Absolute gaslight, gatekeep girl boss.
Yeah.
It was absolutely perfect.
How did you get over to me so fast?
I was standing right next to you, Bella.
No.
That's when I started liking Edward's character, because I was like, this is relatable. That's me. And then later that night, she goes to bed, wakes up, sees Edward in the corner, and then she, like, turns or something. I forget what happens, but then
She gets turned on. That's what happens.
the camera goes and then whips back and he's gone. And she's like,
That's the first night I dreamed of Edward. And she's like squirreling in her bed. And I mean,
squirting in her bed. I was like,
she's shooting out like a fire hose.
yeah, the next day at school, she straight up confronts him like, no, like, you legit have, like, some sort of superpower. I'm not buying this. And he's like, it's called adrenaline. Google it.
I had an adrenaline rush. It's very common. You can Google it.
The fluorescence.
Your eyes were black the last time I saw you, and
It's the fluorescence.
Edward gaslight gatekeep girl boss. Like, he has it going for him. He's really good at it.
The next legendary scene we get is cafeteria moment where Bella's getting her food. Apple rolls off the side. Freaking Messi over here kicks it up. Goes, reference.
Yeah, my favorite part about that too was I was actively doing the how many times does Bella knock things over, hit something, slip. And that apple falling over just put me over the top because the way she knocks it over is completely intentional.
Yeah.
It's on her platter and she's like, oh. Like, just fucking smacks it. Oh, I don't know how the fuck he's so talented at everything. Tokyo drifting. Cars are a recent invention. You remember when he's saving Bella from the high school rivers? How did he hit the drift like that?
That was sick, dude.
That was cold as hell. Like, when did he go to driving school? Or drifting school, sorry.
Paul walked so Edward could run.
Edward can run fast, too.
We're doing prom shopping, and Bella is the worst wing girl ever.
You're not really into this, are you?
I actually really just want to go to this bookstore.
Okay, is it me or is Anna Kendrick and Emma Roberts just, I get them mixed up. They're like the same genre of person.
Their acting styles are similar, but they're both like memes in my mind, if that makes sense. Leaves dress place, go buys the book. Then we have the
dark alley scene.
Yeah, the high school.
By the way, it was pretty freaky. Like,
the way they just show up.
POV, you're Bella, a lonely woman walking in an alley with two men.
If I was a woman, I wouldn't be lonely though.
Yeah, okay. So, men walking. By the way, the score here is pretty nice too. Score makes it creepy as hell.
Shout out music.
And then she starts getting surrounded by dudes spawn in out of nowhere around her, just like, hey girl. They do a whole like war execution around her. And then of course we know who's coming. But I completely forgot he pulled up in a car. I thought he was just gonna lunge at her. He goes,
whip that hoe. He whipped that hoe. It was crazy.
and then he just straight up says, get in the car.
Get in the car.
And then she's like, but it's so funny how his car is just like gray. It's the least imitated car ever. Like,
Yeah, I thought he would have like a decked out. Like,
if it would have just been the same car, just black, it would have been a lot cooler. But it was like that, like soccer mom gray.
then immediately after, I feel like it dies down a lot. We have the restaurant scene, and then in the restaurant we get the whole like I can read minds and like all that shit. Like Edward's starting to tell her. Also in the restaurant,
The waitress.
yeah, the waitress. So obviously the waitress wanted to fuck him.
Well, first of all, he's like, yeah, I don't want anything to eat. She's like, are you sure you don't want anything to eat? In my head, I'm like, can he not suck blood out of steak? Just get a rare steak for this guy.
Also, what I think she meant by that, something I may become the first fan theorist. I have found a new thing in Twilight. Stay tuned. You ready for this? In the restaurant, they have a poster up. And you know when you go to barbecue restaurants and they'll have like diagrams of a pig or a cow and it shows like the
What you're
cuts of
eating?
meat? Yeah. They had that, but with human body parts. There was like
You got like
foot,
anatomy?
hand, yeah, and then anatomical poster of a human.
So it's owned by cannibals or vampires?
So I'm thinking maybe when the waitress walked up, she was like, "Are you sure you don't want anything?" Maybe that's a restaurant for vampires.
Maybe she's like the secret menu.
Yes.
She's like, I like to have arm.
Oh,
Your lucky day.
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's weird to have in a restaurant.
I was tripping balls.
If I went to a restaurant and saw that, I would leave. But I'd keep it in mind if I ever go down that route. Edward drives her home, and we get the greatest moment in the movie, which is when they accidentally touch each other's hand to turn on the heat. And it's just like the worst editing you've ever seen. Everyone failed as a filmmaker on that 2 seconds of...
You can't say everyone.
Everyone,
What about the boom
No,
artist?
Dude. Okay, so what's going on in the town right now? One person has died so far from an animal attack, but it's obviously those like 3 rogue vampires. The dad gives Bella pepper spray, but the pepper spray is huge for some reason.
I honestly was disappointed with how scary the other vampires were. I felt like it could have been a true horror sequence. They could feel like an actual threat.
When they attacked the dude on the
Yeah,
boat.
on the
Yeah,
boat.
the boat scene was awful.
I really wanted them to be scarier, and so I actually felt like, oh, Bella's in danger.
So this is where the movie starts tanking because this is just where we just get too much thirst trap. We get too much bad sexual tension. We get genuinely bad acting and dialogue, and there's just a clear quality dip.
This is where I mean where it helps a lot if you want to fuck Robbie Patty.
I wrote a note. Edward is really dumb for being 100. One of the most memorable scenes in the movie is when he does go into sunlight and he's just yassified. Because I thought he was going to be like, ah! I thought we were going to be like, see him
Yeah,
get
not be
ugly.
so slay.
Yeah, I thought he was going to like start melting. You think I'm hot? Well, I just got hotter. I mean, we get Edward piggybacking her. We got the Bella backpack. Up until this point, Edward just talks too much in this. I think Edward's best when he's very minimal with what he says. But he just ends up just going off in the forest, and I literally wrote, Edward would give me the ick. It's the way he moves around. The VFX are so bad. They can't make him look cool with the whole dashing thing. Oh, and then he drops the, you're like my own personal brand of heroin.
You're like my own personal brand of heroin.
Yeah, that was possibly my favorite line in the movie.
When they pull up to the high school in the car, and they're seen publicly as a couple, and he has sunglasses on, he looks like a Venus flytrap.
What?
We're at Bella's place. He sees that she has a dent in her truck.
Oh, and he
And
just pops it out?
Fingers the fuck out of it.
Yeah. And then we get him introducing me like, oh, I want you to meet the family.
Here's my question. Why, if they're vampires, why do they have so many windows? Wouldn't they want no windows pretty much?
Well, the sunlight doesn't kill him, it just makes him look slay. So maybe they just...
I thought it does damage to them though.
I don't think so. Why was he just vibing out in the sun like that then?
Maybe is it just in the Twilight universe, vampires are...
I think that it glistens, like they're revealed that they're vampires in the sun, rather than it being... Ah! And then even to that introduction where they walk into her room, or into Edward's room, and there's just music and books everywhere, and she's like, no bed?
No bed?
No, I don't sleep.
And I was like, whoa, Bella, get your mind out of the gutter. And then immediately after, he plays music, and then he's like, oh, this is Debussy, but we all know it's Debussy. It's literally, if you look at the captions, it's D-E Bussy. So he's like, oh, French Debussy, I'm so fancy. Bro's listening to male Bussy. I don't know if Edward's straight. That's all I'm saying. If Bro's just listening to Bussy sounds on vinyl, Bro's listening to male anal queefs on loop. Bro's turning around the vinyl listening to B-sides. Okay? Like
Bussy side.
like,
I could see Beatles dropping an album, just Bussy.
you know, yellow bus, but yellow Bussy.
Bussy in the sky.
Oh, wait, is it yellow submarine?
Yeah, what'd you say?
Yellow bus.
Then we get our character introductions to, like you said, the house, the gang. Alice was casted perfectly. The family's there, and everyone smells Bella, obviously. Mm-hmm. And everyone's just like, ah!
Let me get a whiff.
Especially
Jasper. Jasper's rock hard.
And if you think about it, imagine your sister brings home a guy and you meet him, but he's not a guy, he's just the best steak you've ever smelled. So if you go full Madagascar mode, go full Alex mode, you don't even see your sister's boyfriend as a man, you see him as a giant steak you want to gobble on. That's what that experience is.
I feel like it's just a little hard for me to put myself in those shoes because I'm not a cannibal, but I get what you're saying.
It wouldn't make you a cannibal, though, if you see the steak.
When I think of a steak, I don't think a steak of being a conscious being, you know?
I'm doing figure of speech, bro. Since when were we... We were talking about bussies 30 seconds ago.
You're just making it very complicated for me.
Then we get the spider monkey scene. We don't even need to talk about it. I just wanted to watch Ben 10 after he said that. I got pissed off by Bella when she's at dinner with her dad, and she's like, are you sure you want another steak? Like, you should cut back on the steak.
Yeah, watch your fucking cholesterol, you fat ass.
I ordered you the spinach salad. I hope that's okay.
You should order one for yourself next time. Cut back on the steak.
And you bonded over the steak and cobbler. And he just witnessed his friend die. He can't solve the case. And now you're getting on his ass for his diet.
It's funny how much of a cop vibe he doesn't give at all.
Yeah.
He's the chief of police. Every chief of police is like 60 and 200 pounds overweight.
Yeah, I've never seen a fit police officer. If your cop isn't fat, is it a cop?
Or is it just a vigilante? Then, we get a little bedtime scene. This is where he's in there, and she's like, how'd you get in here? And he's like,
the window.
Yeah. Why did she even ask that? They're both horned up. They start making out. He goes on the bed. He goes, He was literally me when I was, in my middle school days being like, you know what? I'll wait till marriage. And then he's like, I can't. I only fuck pussy. But yeah, next day, she's like, I want you to meet Edward. And the dad's like fixing a shotgun. And he's like,
yeah.
Bring him in.
All right. Bring him in.
Baseball scene, we got the outfield collision, which was hilarious. Anyways, the 3 random rogue vampires spawn out of the forest like, is this your ball? I love their character entrance because they're not even walking, they're gliding in.
Yeah.
they're just like... Yeah, and then we get the whole scene where they kind of stand off like, room for 3 more, but then James gets a whiff of Bella, and he's like, I'm gonna track you down. It was kind of anticlimactic the way we just like go from, I'm tracking you down, then we hop in a car and start chasing, and then like, I get it, but it wasn't as intense as it should have been. I don't know.
I wish his like power or something, because you know how Edward has a power to read minds and Alice can see the future? If that guy's power was to become invisible or something, and then he like locks on and be like, I'm hunting Bella, and all of a sudden he just turns invisible, disappears.
That would be cool.
I feel like that would be a ton of pressure, but instead we're like, hop in the Jeep Rubicon and let's drive 60 miles an hour.
I put Bella talks shit to her alpha dad, L daughter.
Yeah, the dad scene it's rough.
Yeah, we need to talk about this dad scene. So she needs to flee the entire area because she's getting hunted now. The only way to do it is just have a fallout with her dad so she doesn't even, it's so bad to the point that he won't even chase her. This is the one scene where the dad's kind of a beta, right? Because I feel like he'd be like, what the hell are you doing? Like, I feel like I would have yelled at my daughter. Be like, what do you mean you're going? Especially like, was this after the part where she comes home mad as shit?
Yeah, it's like,
With
breaking
Edward.
up.
Yeah.
But it was like a ploy just so that way.
Yeah, but especially after that, because like, she's been acting weird since this boy, and then
Now she's super
I would have been like,
irrational.
what do you mean you're not going
Yeah,
anywhere?
yeah.
That dude is gonna kill you.
I'll call the cops on you.
Yeah, this is the chief of police. I'd like to talk to the police. He pulls up another phone. Oh, hey. He realizes, fuck.
Wait, what the hell?
Cuts to Edward already skirting off again in his driveway. I love donuts. Because he's a cop. We should have directed this. Yeah, so after we dip from the house, we're riding in the truck, and the truck gets a loud slam on it.
Yeah,
it's just like,
Spider-Man up top.
don't worry, it's just Emmett.
It's just Emmett.
Overall, like, again, locked in the very beginning, and then Edward Bella romance, I was out of it, and then it goes baseball scene, I'm fucking into it, and then immediately after we have the chase sequence and the mom getting captured by James, that's his name.
Yeah.
And it just kind of felt like I was out of it again.
And then we meet in the ballet.
Yeah.
By the way, the creepiest ballet studio ever.
Yeah, can we turn on the lights, please? Like,
Yeah.
what's going on?
And then Bella falls for a voice recording of her mom being like, Bella! It is clearly playing on a VCR. It has the worst sound quality. But she's like, Mom! And then it wasn't her mom. It was James. Bella, or should I say, what's her name that plays her again?
Kristen Stewart?
Pulls out the acting chops with, Edward has nothing to do with this!
Edward has nothing to do with this!
I remember the first time for the YouTube video when we reacted to it, I was shocked by the violence. James just tosses her around like a rag doll. Like, she gets beaten and bruised. Leg snapped in half.
Yeah.
Tossed through the glass. She's pulling shards out of her legs.
Yeah,
like,
after seeing Bella get thrown around, how we like went from like 20 minutes ago, her and Edward having a moment, doing their sexual tension, to now she's getting thrown around a room. I'm like, moms had to bring their daughters to this movie. Like, what are their moms thinking when they were sitting through this movie with their daughter? She breaks her leg and then gets bit on the arm.
And then, yeah, the poison snake thing, unfortunately, it wasn't on the penis. It was on the forearm.
Yeah, too bad Bella didn't have a penis. That's what Edward's thinking, too, because he likes pussy. Final boss goes hard, though. The Edward versus James battle. Mm-hmm. For how awful the VFX looked in the forest earlier, I didn't expect it to go this hard. Cheap way to make anyone like an action scene, have someone get thrown through glass. Spider-Man 3. You know, the other Colons pull up and then the dad's like, you need to suck the blood out of her, but you cannot, you have to control yourself, you have to pull out. Edward has no choice, bites her, and you can tell he's having the time of his life.
Yeah, in that vampire frenzy, like he claimed earlier.
He's like, I can't believe this isn't Bussy. He doesn't want to pull out, but then we get a freaking we get a song that's actually sung by Robert Pattinson, where we get the fan cam of all the Tumblr thirst traps.
Oh.
Remember it was like...
Yeah, the
like
anime flashback.
Well, it's like it's visions as well. We're seeing a fan cam of what happened and what's to come. And
ooh, Bella's about to come.
Back to life. Because motherfucker pulled out. And...
It's a shame.
I want to get her fucking Capri Sunned.
Yeah, she's like those the Skittles or the vape commercials. Which one was it? You know when they become Flat Stanley?
It's Capri Sun commercials. Then we cut to Bella in the hospital, and the excuse is that she tripped downstairs.
2 flights of stairs and then
flew
broke
through a
her
window.
glass. Yeah.
What staircase has a window near it?
And then Bella's like, "This sounds like me."
I'm so stupid.
Yeah.
And he fell down 2 flights of stairs. Went through a window.
Yeah, that sounds like me.
Oh yeah, and then we go to prom, and she's wearing a boot, which sucks. I felt bad for Bella, because going to prom in a boot, it's got to be bad.
Yeah, I just thought she looked ugly and hideous because of that.
Okay, and then we pretty much get the end of the movie, because, I mean, we kind of get like a dancing under the gazebo scene, and then one of the rogue vampires is looking at them through the window.
She's at prom. How did she get the invite?
And then she just walks away, and then the credits start rolling. It's the weirdest closing shot ever. It doesn't feel like the end of the movie.
But I think it sets up. We have the whole Jacob thing before, the Jacob-Edward confrontation of like Jacob being like, my dad wants you to break up with your boyfriend. And then Edward shows up. He's like, I'll leave you for 1 second. The wolves appear.
That was a great line. But yeah, in conclusion, I think if you chop 20 minutes off this thing, patch up the dialogue and pace in the second act, it's a pretty solid movie. What genre would this fall? Like, it's a solid teen drama.
Yeah, a love drama.
Fictional vampire love story thing.
You got to change up the villains too, not change who they are.
The rogue vampire.
Yeah, you
make
gotta
that more
make them scarier, make them more of a problem at the start.
Yeah, I mean, do we slap a score on this? It's a bit of a weird.
I'm willing to slap a score on it. 5 out of 10.
Yeah, I was thinking 5 or 6.
I think this movie would be an 8 if I was attracted to Edward. If Edward was Madison Beer or something like that.
Yeah, 5 is just like middle of the road. They got pros, they got cons. Anyway, thank you guys for enjoying this. Let me close the laptop.
Well, how do you know that they enjoyed it? They could have been hate watching this entire time.
Thank you for enjoying. Thank you for enjoying. Hope you watched this. Yeah, if you guys want more with this style, let us know. Smash a like. Support us on Patreon. We got Pitch Perfect coming up and the final episode of Percy Jackson. That's the best way to support us. Thank you guys. Goodbye.